So you just finished watching the video example, and now we're going to move on to activity one. In activity one, you're going to need some materials. So you're going to have your participant guide handy. Hopefully you've printed that out already, and you can open up to page 2.7. Otherwise, using the link below, you can also download the form that we'll be using, the fax form for Tracy, conducting this interview with Tracy's teacher. So we really want you to have the forms in front of you so you can practice writing this out just as you would if you were conducting the interview yourself. So really focusing on this being an application activity for it to be most helpful for you. So in this activity, I'm going to be the interviewer, and I will be interviewing Tracy's teacher. And so as we progress through this interview, you can take note of how we ask the questions and those sorts of things, but also just make sure you're actually writing down on your form the responses that are provided by the person being interviewed here, Tracy's teacher. So we'll get started with the interview. Okay, so Tracy has been identified as a student who's engaging in some challenging behaviors in schools, and so as Tracy's teacher, wanted to sit down and collect some information from you about what you've seen and where her behavior is of most concern.
Okay.
So when we do these interviews, and so we'll do an interview observation leading towards hopefully development of a behavior support plan, so we can support Tracy to be more successful in school. But whenever we start this process, the first thing we look at is student strengths. So are there any strengths that she has in school, any academic strengths that you can think of?
Yeah. Science, she's really good at science, and she's really good at art. She's very artistic.
Okay, so science and art are strengths, and areas she's pretty interested in as well?
Yes.
Okay. So then how about any social or recreational activities, things outside of school that you know she's strong at or interested in?
Well, I've seen her play basketball. She's on the basketball team, and she's really good. So I'd say that's definitely a strength of hers.
Good, good. All right, so it sounds like she has some strengths we can build on. So we're going to move on now to the routines analysis. And so as you look at the form that I've provided you to look at as I'm filling out the one that I have, so I've already filled the routines analysis using the time and the schedule, and so I appreciate that you provided that for me earlier, but this should save us some time if we have that filled out in advance. And so now as you look through this form, you can see the first line is reading, and so on a 1 through 6 scale, what we'd like for you to do is just take a look at each one of these times of day. And I know that you don't necessarily have Tracy during each of these times of day, but I also kind of like just getting your read, since you do have Tracy for a good portion of the day, your read on how she's doing, and then I will also go and do the routines analysis with her other teachers to get their rating as well. So as we're just going to go through each of these, and so during reading, so look at the scale here, 1 through 6. 1 would really mean this isn't a problem at all. We don't see any problem behavior. And a 6 is this is a pretty big time problem, and we see it very regularly, very very consistently. So how does reading go?
Reading is a 1. She's fine.
Okay.
She does great.
So no problems in reading. Good. Moving on to that break at 9:05.
Yeah, it's that transition. I would say give her a 4.
Okay.
Give her a 4 there.
So since you gave her a 4 and it is more of a concern, we're going to go to the next column here. And can you tell me just a little bit briefly about the behaviors you see?
She'll call students' names in the hall and sometimes threaten them. This is pretty harsh. So.
Okay. And are there any interventions in place currently?
Yeah, when I find out about it, I give her detention. So that's what we're currently doing right now.
Okay. So let's move on to writing. How about during the writing period?
From what I hear, no likelihood of problem there.
Okay. Math?
Math, not a problem. No.
So 1, you'd say
yeah,
1 for each of those?
1, yes.
Okay. Social studies?
I'd give her a 1 as well. I've heard good things about her in that class. So.
All right, so it's looking like the academic time she's not struggling too much.
Yeah.
How about during lunch period?
That's where her problems happen again. I'd give her a 6. It's very, very high there.
Okay, so that's even more so of a concern than the break time.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are the behaviors you see during lunch?
Like the hall, I mean, she'll call students names and threaten them, and just, it's, again, really intense during lunch.
And any interventions that are currently in place?
Yeah, she'll get detention
Okay.
with me or with the principal.
Okay, so same as earlier.
Hmm.
So moving on, the next one. So I know it doesn't look like you are the PE or the art teacher, but from what you hear,
Yeah, they reported good things. I'd say ones, from my opinion. I'd give her
Okay.
ones on both the PE and the science sections.
okay. Oh yeah, and so looking ahead to science is a 1 as
Yeah,
well.
I've heard from Mrs. N that she's doing pretty well.
All right, and so then dismissal. How about the dismissal time?
You know, about a 3. I'd say sometimes she has a problem there.
Okay, so a 3. 3 isn't it's not as big a concern as the break time or
Mhm.
the lunch time. Just because it is different than the other 1 ratings. What are
Mhm.
the behaviors you're seeing at dismissal?
It's like the other. I think we'll see some name calling sometimes at dismissal, threatening.
Okay,
So
so same things, and any interventions in place?
yeah, I mean, she sometimes gets detention the next day when she comes back to school.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much for helping me complete the routines analysis. That ends this initial activity, and hopefully you've had a chance to fill out, you in the audience here have had a chance to fill out the form, and you can check that below and compare that with the answers that we came up with.